Welcome back. This is Chris, my brother Stephen.
Hello.
Date today is May 29th, year of our Savior 2017. Bible study number 152. Yes, Bible study number 152. The title of this Bible study is Operation Paperclip. Yes, Operation Paperclip. So, as we realize, at the end of World War II, you had some of the Nazi scientists were given an offer or an option of go to prison or come over to America and reveal all the secrets so that we can use them on the American populace. Isn't that exciting? Because they were experimenting with mind control, you name it, and so you have NASA as well as from Operation Paperclip, because remember, the Nazis are the ones that had rocket technology.
Right.
America didn't have rocket technology. Nobody had rocket technology except the Germans. Because I'll tell you what, those Germans and what they were some smart people. They still are. So Operation Paperclip was the United States Office of Strategic Services, that's the OSS program, which is a predecessor to the modern Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, in which more than 1,500 Germans, Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program to bring Nazi scientists to America. And that's an interesting, this is taken from 2014 from Annie Jacobson, Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program to bring Nazi scientists to America, published in New York, Little, Brown and Company, prologue, Roman numeral number 9, ISBN number 031-622-1058. I digress. So we see that there are 1,500 Nazi German scientists that were brought to America by the OSS, the forerunner to the CIA
and their families.
And their families.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily scientists, but also engineers and technicians were brought to the United States from Nazi Germany for government employment starting in, 1945 and increasing in the aftermath of World War II. Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, the United States National Archives and Records Administration retrieved October 9th, 2008. It was conducted by the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, or JIOA, and in the context of the burgeoning Cold War, end quote. You can find that under Operation Paperclip under wikipedia.org. And that's a nice little picture here of a group of 104 rocket scientists, aerospace engineers at Fort Bliss, Texas. Now, the Nazis were used in the Cold War space program. Under Operation Paperclip, approximately 350 German scientists were given visas and well-paying jobs, many of which had questionable pasts. But what the heck, right? They can come over here, help found the Central Intelligence Agency, help found NASA, and do experiments of mind control on the American populace, right? Mm-hmm. Because didn't the CIA do LSD on the American populace? MK Ultra, all these things. Now they have it down to a pretty good science. So we see now Werner Magnus Maximilian Freiherr von Braun. So let's call him Werner von Braun. March 23rd, 1912 to June 16th, 1977, was a German, later American, aerospace engineer. See here, there's a reference here. Michael Neufeld von Braun, Dreamer of Space, Engineer of War, first edition, taken from Vintage Books, page Roman numeral 15, quote, although Wernher von Braun got a doctorate in physics in 1934, he never worked a day in his life thereafter as a scientist. He was an engineer and a manager of engineers, and he used that vocabulary when he was talking to his professional peers, end quote. And he was a space architect credited with inventing the V-2 rocket for Nazi Germany and the Saturn V for the United States. All right, so we see the Wernher von Braun, history's most controversial figure, by Al Jazeera, SP-4206, Stages to Saturn, Chapter 9, history.nasa.gov, retrieved March 8, 2015. But wait, there's more. He was one of the leading figures in the development of rocket technology in Nazi Germany, where he was a member of the Nazi Party and the SS. Following World War II, he was moved to the United States along with about 1,500 other scientists, technicians, and engineers as part of Operation Paperclip, where he developed the rockets that launched the United States' first space satellite Explorer 1 and the Apollo program manned lunar landings, so they say. Continuing the quote, in his 20s and early 30s, von Braun worked in Germany's rocket development program, where he helped design and develop the V-2 rocket at Peenemünde. Thank you. During World War II, following the war, von Braun worked for the United States Army on an intermediate range ballistic missile, IRBM, program before his group was assimilated into NASA. Now, I've done a little research. Stephen's done more research than I have in this particular field. Anything that I've said is pretty much spot on?
Yep.
Okay. Under NASA, he served as director of the newly formed Marshall Space Flight Center and as the chief architect of the Saturn V launch vehicle, the super booster that propelled the Apollo spacecraft to the moon, so they say. Biography of Wernher von Braun, MSFC, History Office, NASA Marshall Space Flight Center. According to a NASA source, he is, quote, without doubt, the greatest rocket scientist in history. Do you think he knows what he's talking about? Absolutely, folks. Wernher von Braun feature article by earthobservatory.nasa.gov, retrieved August 15th, 2013. In 1975, he received the National Medal of Service, end quote, taken from Wikipedia under Wernher von Braun. And you see a picture of him here. Wernher von Braun is one wearing the suit, and he's surrounded by a bunch of SS officers, Gestapo. The purpose of NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, is to create a worldwide authority on all things relating to space and astronomy. That's the purpose behind NASA. NASA is part of the executive branch of the United States federal government, responsible for the civilian space program as well as aeronautics and aerospace research. Yes, it is a governmental agency. Right. Now, if you look at the symbol of NASA, it's NASA with a red forked tongue, which actually is a T as well, folks. It's an anagram. Just as you have Santa, you also have NASA with a T, which is also there's 5 letters there, and you rearrange them, it forms Satan. The red symbol looks like a serpent forked tongue and also the letter T. This is an anagram for the word Satan, just like the word Santa. That's what I stated. NASA has become the public face of space. Yes, the public face of space, acting as a front to promote a pseudoscience to the unsuspecting world, legitimized by the backing of the United States government. NASA is a monopoly. through which it controls the dissemination of public information on astronomy while withholding or hiding the facts they do not want the public to know. Now, a monopoly is the exclusive ownership through legal privilege, command of supply, and concerted action. Only NASA statements receive public headlines. NASA controls the flow of astronomical information to the public, and the Vatican remains a key and central player in the real astronomy not released to the public. Now, NASA is a PSYOP, which means psychological operation, or a PSYWAR, which is a psychological, stands for psychological warfare. That's what NASA is. It's a PSYOP. It's a psychological operation or psychological warfare, known by many other names or terms, including MISO, PSYOPs, political warfare, hearts and minds, and propaganda. Quote, the term is used to denote any action which is practiced mainly by psychological methods with the aim of evoking a planned psychological reaction in other people. Psychological warfare, an introduction to the ideological propaganda and the techniques of psychological warfare. That is a book relating to PSYOP, 1955, by Bella Zunyog, S-Z-U-N-Y-O-G-H. Sometimes it's just easier to spell it than pronounce it. William Fredericks Press, page 13, retrieved February 11, 2015. Various techniques are used and are aimed at influencing a target's audience, value system, belief system, emotions, motives, reasoning, or behavior. We're talking about a PSYOP, or psychological warfare. It is used to induce confessions or reinforce attitudes and behaviors favorable to the originator's objectives, and are sometimes combined with black operations or false flag techniques. False flag techniques. What would be an example of a great false flag technique? Yes, 911, 9/11, which could also be a reference to Revelation 9:11, right? Which is referring to Apollyon or Apollo, which is interesting that NASA named their missions Apollo missions in reference to the God that they serve. It's also used to destroy the morale of enemies through tactics that aim to depress troops' psychological states. Now, you can look that up under psychological warfare under Wikipedia. Quote, President Dwight D. Eisenhower established NASA in 1958. Well, wait a minute. Wasn't the Nazi scientists brought it forth in 1945? And now we have NASA being formed in 1958. Mm-hmm. So we have Nazism forming NASA.
Yep.
But folks, you believe everything they say, right? They're the ones that tell us about global warming. They are the ones that tell us that we live on a globe. They give us these pictures. They give us these. That's why we spend $19 billion in budget annually, right? So they can give us some nice computer graphic imagery pictures. It's good. It's a wonderful international Hollywood Disney production. Mm-hmm. So we see that President Dwight D. Eisenhower established NASA in 1958. Ike in history, Eisenhower creates NASA. Eisenhower Memorial, 2013, retrieved November 27, 2013, with a distinctly civilian rather than military orientation, encouraging peaceful applications in space science. But it is a government agency, folks. The National Aeronautics and Space Act was passed on July 29, 1958, disestablishing NASA's predecessor, the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, which is NACA. The new agency became operational on October 1st, 1958. So we see that the National Aeronautics and Space Act, NASA 2005, retrieved August 29th, 2007, by Roger E. Bilstein, 1996. Quote, from NACA, N-A-C-A, to NASA, NASA SP-4206, Stages to Saturn, a technological history of the Apollo/Saturn launch vehicles. NASA. Pages 32 to 33, ISBN number 978-0-16-004259-1, retrieved May 6, 2013. Wow! Stay tuned, but there's more. Since that time, quote, all U.S. space exploration efforts have been led by NASA, the monopoly, the PSYOP, the psychological warfare, including the Apollo moon landing missions, fake, counterfeit, imitation, the Skylab space station, and later the space shuttle Apollo, Greek sun god. Currently, NASA is supporting the International Space Station, ISS, fake. Yes, it's fake, folks, and is overseeing the development of Orion, another name for Nimrod. Yes, isn't this exciting, learning all about pagan occult symbology, multi-purpose crew vehicle, the Space Launch System, and commercial crew vehicles. The agency is also responsible for the launch services program, the LSP, which provides oversight for launch operations and countdown management for unmanned NASA launches, specifically in Greenland, the Land Rover. There's pretty neat pictures, aren't they? Put a little red tint to it.
Red filter.
Red filter. I love it. Continuing the quote, I've interjected a little bit in there, folks. NASA science is focused on better understanding Earth through the Earth observing system, they say. Advancing heliophysics. They're advancing heliophysics. Well, of course, what's helio? Helio is sun, physics, which is heliocentrism, folks. That's what they're advancing. Heliocentrism. Yes. Through the efforts of the Science Mission Directorate's Heliophysics Research Program, that's by Ruth Netting, January 8, 2009, Heliophysics, NASA scientists retrieved July 15, 2009. Continuing the quote, exploring bodies throughout the solar system with advanced robotic spacecraft missions such as New Horizons. Now, New Horizons by Michael Rostin, August 28, 2015, and NASA's Next Horizon in Space, New York Times, retrieved August 28, 2015. And researching the star, astrophysics, star physics, folks. We have star physics topics such as the Big Bang, which is created by the Jesuits, through great observatories, all right, and associated programs. Now, Great Observatory is a building equipped for observation of natural phenomena as in astronomy. Now, that's by Ruth Netting, July 13, 2009, Astrophysics/NASA Science, retrieved July 15th, 2009. NASA shares data with various national and international organizations, International Confederacy, I like to call it, such as from the Greenhouse Gases Observing Satellite. More fantasy. End quote. You can find a lot of this information on NASA on Wikipedia. Now, if you look at, I wish I could show you this pic. It says, come on, NASA, make up your mind. What does the Earth really look like? Because they show you 1972. Then they have another pic of the globe, 1997. Then they have another one, 2002. And then another one, 2007. And then another one, 2007. Whoa, look at those fancy looking colors. 2012, 2013, and 2015. All images are official NASA pictures of Earth as released through the mainstream media outlets and major news agencies of the world. Questions: how big is America? What color are the oceans and the land? Why is there never any real video of the Earth spinning? Only stills. And why are the images so varied? Do you really believe this is where you live? Do you actually trust NASA? Folks, they look so different, it's comical.
And the duplicated clouds.
Yeah, they have duplicated clouds. I mean, one moment, North America looks really small. Next moment, it's taking up a third of the globe. All this stuff is computer graphic imagery. And I wish they would actually have something a little bit more realistic, because out of the taxpayer dollars, we spend an average of 19, is it trillion or billion? I think it's 19 billion a year. So NASA, which is U.S. government agency, and the Vatican, which is Roman Catholicism, work together and jointly own Lucifer. I'll say that again. NASA, United States government agency, and the Vatican, Roman Catholic, work together and jointly own Lucifer, the world's largest binocular telescope. Yes, and where is that found? Well, Lucifer is found at Mount Graham International Observatory in Arizona, United States. Yes, in Arizona. Built from 1996 to 2004 by Anasaldo Energia, an Italian power engineering company based in Genoa, Italy. Vatican Lucifer infrared binocular telescope on Mount Graham, Arizona, the largest in the world. And what's interesting is that this was on sacred Indian ground. This wasn't even supposed to be part of the United States, but what's the representative, the veteran of Arizona, the senator or congressman of Arizona? Well, he pushed it through. It'll come to me. But all of a sudden, the Roman Catholicism can come in on federal reservation, a federal reservation, and build this in cooperation with the Arizona University and the United States government, and form the largest in the world telescope, infrared binocular telescope. All right, so, quote, the largest binocular telescope, LBT, not to be confused with the lesbian and gay community, this is the LBT, is an optical telescope for astronomy located on 10,700 foot or 3,300 meters Mount Graham in Pinalino Mountains of southeastern Arizona. It is a part of the Mount Graham International Observatory. The LBT is currently one of the world's most advanced optical telescopes, using two 8.4 meter or 27 foot wide mirrors with a 14.4 meter center to center separation. It has the same light gathering ability as an 11.8 meter or 39 foot wide singular circular telescope, and detail of 22.8 meter or 75 feet wide one. That's taken from Giant Telescope Opens Both Eyes from the news.bbc.co.uk, March 6, 2008, retrieved March 6, 2008. Either of its mirrors would be the second largest optical telescope in continental North America, behind the Hobby Eberly telescope in West Texas as of summer 2014. It would still be the largest monolithic or non-segmented mirror in an optical telescope. Optical performance of the telescope is excellent, and STREHL ratios of 60 to 90% in the infrared H band and 95% in the infrared M band have been achieved by the LBT. The LBT, the Large Binocular Telescope, and that's taken from Sharper Than Hubble Large Binocular Telescope Archives Major Breakthrough. And that's taken from physorg.com. Continuing to quote, Lucifer is near-infrared instrument for the LBT. Yes, the Lucifer is the infrared instrument of the LBT, which is the Large Binocular Telescope. The name of the instrument was officially changed to external LUCI in 2012. I wonder why. They wanted to name it their god, Lucifer, but it got too much heat and recognition, so then they changed the name to LUCI in 2012. I don't make this stuff up, folks. Continuing the quote, LUCI operates in the 0.9 to 2.5 UM spectral range using a 2048 by 2048 element Hawaii second detector array from Rockwell, and provides imaging and spectroscopic capabilities in seeing and diffraction limited modes. Boy, that's a mouthful. In its focal plane area, long slit and multi-slit masks can be installed for single object and multi-object spectroscopy. A fixed collimator produces an image of the entrance aperture in which either a mirror for imaging or a grating can be positioned. Folks, what this is all about, remember, infrared is something you can't see by the naked eye. There's a reason why the Jesuits want to be looking into the firmament, into the infrared, something we can't detect. Because there's some crazy stuff going on, thanks to CERN trying to open up a portal and bringing in the demonic realm, possibly the god of Shiva, the destroyer of worlds, possibly bringing in something into this world that could be a world killer. Aren't scientists wonderful what they're trying to do? Isn't this for the betterment of humanity? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But we're going to learn more about Lucifer. They named it Lucifer telescope. It's the infrared portion of the large binocular telescope on Mount Graham, Arizona, right here in the USA. Stay tuned for more Lucifer technology. God bless you.